Hello and welcome back to another live video. We're a little bit late today, I think. How late are we? 8:04. I'm gonna blame Alex, even if it's not his fault. But yeah, so another live video. This time we're gonna be talking about aging cigars, aged cigars, how to, and all that kind of stuff. So this video is gonna be leaning more on Ray this week. So Ray, I'm gonna be quiet most of the time. I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy a cigar. You could talk the majority of the way through.
Not a problem.
But before we start with the video, just want a quick shout out to our sponsor for this video, and that is Monte Fortuna. Monte Fortuna Cigars. I'm going to leave a link below to their website. It's a cigar retailer, boutique store. They've got these. They've got a fantastic range of cigars, both Cuban and New World cigars. They've started shipping a lot of New World cigars as well. So if you're interested in that, they've got that. But they've also got a huge selection of Cuban cigars, and recently they got the Trinidad Media Luna. I tried to buy them, but someone beat me to it, so I'm not jealous. I'm not mad about that. But yeah, Monte Fortuna Cigars. Make sure you check them out. It's a fantastic retailer. I've been buying cigars from them for a while, and I think their service is fantastic. So I recommend them as a customer as well. But yeah, check them out. Plug done.
So, good evening from me. I already start smoking. I'm impatient, so I can't wait to start smoking. And what I'm smoking La Carême 2021 limited edition, been released about a month ago. I managed to get some. It's crazy strong cigar. I'm pretty sure if Usman smoked that, it's not going to be capable to finish the show. It's Connecticut broadleaf, my favorite wrapper, Ecuadorian Sumatra, and Nicaraguan fillers. It's been made by EP Carrillo in his factory, and it's, yeah, so far it's very, very decent smoke. You can literally say that's a young smoke. It's a lot of dark start coming in, and even if it's less than an inch into the cigar, but we'll see how that going further down. As Usman mentioned, we're going to talk about mostly about the aging, all the process around the aging cigars, fermentation, curing, etc., etc. And yeah, plenty. If you have any questions during the show, feel free ask, and Alex will pick the question and ask us.
What am I smoking? I don't know what it's called. I'm just going to show you guys the box though. See if this comes up on camera. But this is the box.
There's a lid.
What are they called? Yeah, there's a lid there too. That's the lid. Number 54. That's what it says. Number 54. I don't... Ray, what the hell are these?
That is a German short-filled dry cured cigars, which are made before World War I. So roughly around the beginning of the century, the last century. Smell amazing. They usually made with Brazilian tobacco. So the old German cigars using Brazilian tobacco or Indonesian. If it's a dark one, obviously it's the Brazilian. If it's lighter, it's Ecuador. It's a Sumatra Indonesian. Usually they have a lot of taste of cocoa, chocolate, that kind of stuff. Usman will try now one because we just opened the box. I have smoked them before. I know pretty much how they taste. But Alex and Usman will try them, and let's see if they find any taste. Basically 120 years old, the cigar is way over his peak, and if you have any taste in that cigar, it will be a miracle.
So when we're talking about aging cigars, this is overkill when it comes to aging cigars. This is like ridiculously aged. How do you even get these?
On auctions. On auctions, collections. I buy decent collection with vintage stuff. That is one of my oldest boxes I have. I have few more from the same age and a lot more slightly younger than those, but also around 1940s, 1950s, 60s, 70s. Pretty much every decade I have cigars onwards.
This tastes very, very mild, like ridiculously mild.
It's supposed to be mild, but did you feel any taste?
Flavor-wise?
Any flavor, yeah.
There's like a hint of cocoa. But it's like almost nothing. There's like a little bit of on the aftertaste. There's a little bit on the tongue, which is nice. It's kind of.
And also that is a small size. It's that is what they called war cigars. you know, the people when they're in the, you know, on the war or the battles and stuff, they used to keep that kind of cigar, that size, because it's not really a big size. It's easy for 10, 15, 20 minutes smoke. Keep it in your pocket, and you know the metal cigar boxes where you can keep 5, 6 of them and without any problem. And it's not a cigarette; it's a cigar, proper cigar.
I'll tell you what this tastes like a little bit. It reminds me of the you know, the Italian Toscano.
Yeah,
it reminds me of
them.
They
use similar technology basically.
It's very similar to that, except this doesn't have that
sweetness and the sweetness as well.
Yeah, it doesn't have the sweetness.
Yeah.
It's got more of a the Toscano are very prominently sweet. It's almost sugary in a sense. I like them. You know, they're okay, and they're much harder as well. These ones are quite soft. Flavors, you know. Yeah, it's very subtle. Very, very subtle.
But without knowing, can you say that's way over a cigar? Way old, you know.
If I smoked it without you telling me,
yeah,
I'd just be like, oh, it's a mild cigar.
Without telling that's 100 on and something here.
I mean, I'd be able to tell that it's been aged, but I wouldn't be able to tell it's 100 years old.
Exactly.
I'd be like,
it's one of the points we're talking today. That's how after a certain age, the cigars pretty much stop developing, stop fermenting, or if they do it very, very slowly. So that will be one part of the conversation today. When slightly later, I'm gonna talk about the fermenting process and etc.
So let's talk about let's start off with something a little bit more casual, a little bit more regular, because we've freaking gone to the deep end over here with 120. What is it? 120 years old?
Approximately, something like
before World War One. This is like a ridiculous degree of age. So let's start off with something a little bit closer to home. So most people will generally tend to get cigars which have got 5 years and 10 years worth of age. That's kind of like the average, right? So let's talk about that. Let's talk about New World cigars and Cuban cigars around those areas. And I think one of the things that a lot of people were interested in is, how do you age cigars correctly? Because there isn't a lot of information about that out there. People just say, store them in a humidor, blah, 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 and this and that. But I'm assuming there's a little bit more to it, because if it was that easy, then, you know.
Yes and no.
Yes and no, okay.
It's easy, but it's not easy as well. Depend what do you want to achieve. I would suggest, before I'm going deeply to how we're storing the cigars and stuff, to tell a little bit more how we go into the aging of the cigars, or how we, you know, when the leaves been picked from the field, what actually doing, because there's a process called fermentation and curing.
Oh yeah,
which is really, really important in any life of the cigar after that. So without proper fermentation, proper curing, everything is pointless. You know, point to keeping cigars if they're not being proper fermented and everything like that, because they're never gonna get better and better. And yeah, my point was, what's happened, I'm going to ask straight to you. Do you know what's happened when the leaves are ready to be picked up and when they pick them up?
What do you mean?
When they harvest.
When they harvest?
Yeah. Do you know what's happened after that?
They remove the chlorophyll.
How?
They have it stacked up in like a fermentation.
So they first of all, when the leaves are picked,
so they dry
go in
them.
Curing barns.
Okay.
Or curing houses, depend which side of the world you are.
Okay.
So the curing houses, curing barns, usually they stack the leaves. You know, when you start picking, the season in South America usually starts around December. So that when they start harvest, and they start with the bottom leaves. You know, you have the plant with the medio tiempo, ligero, seco, viso, volado. That's the leaves priming. So they start from the bottom. Usually volado or seco, that's the leaves, the bottom leaves, which are not so strong, which are slightly thinner and stuff like that. So they start picking them.
So the bottom leaves are the ones that haven't had as much sunlight.
Yes.
The top leaves are the ones that have had a lot, and they're going to be significantly
thick. Yeah, the top leaves are thick. So the very bottom one is called volado. Not everyone using it. Some company use it, some not.
So what's that particularly for? What does that particularly suit?
Filler. Only filler.
Only filler.
Only filler.
So the bottom leaves are generally filler.
Yes. And the next priming, that's seco.
Yeah.
Seco usually as well is a filler.
Okay.
So the bottom leaves, they're thinner. They're not that good quality.
But the seco leaves are generally better for like filler, right?
Yeah, they use them only for filler. So what they do, they start to harvest them. They put them in the curing barns in piles. You know, in a long, it's different in Cuba, different in Dominican Republic, different in Indonesia. But basically, the idea is they put them on the long things, put the leaves there, leave them in the curing barns for around 2 months, between 20-25 days up to a month, 2 months. It depends what kind of leaf is. And they start from the bottom. So imagine you pick the Seco and the Volado, you put them on the bottom. After a week or so, you decide to pick the next leaf, which is Viso. So you pick the Viso, move the Ligero, move the Volado and Seco slightly up. So you put on the bottom the next leaf, which is the Viso. Then you go for Ligero, which is the top leaf and the strongest leaf. All that leaves, move them up, and you put the Ligero at the bottom.
Right, I see.
And then when you have the top row,
so you leave the Ligero to stay on the plant the longest?
Yes, because you need more time.
Yes.
Because the curing process, basically what is the curing process? When the leaf is picked, is around 88% of water into the leaf.
Yeah.
So you need to get rid of the water.
Yes.
Before you start doing anything, you need to get rid of the water. So you're curing the leaves, get rid of the water. Basically, you need constant temperature. That's why that special curing houses have a lot of windows, a lot of air. Depends what's the air inside. They need to open the window or they're outside.
They need a lot of oxygen as well.
Yes, yeah. And even a 1 degree difference makes a huge difference.
Yeah, yeah.
So
they try and keep the temperature consistent throughout.
Yeah. So also when you put the first leaves on the top, they're almost ready. You get rid of them. You put them in the fermentation room, and then move the next row up. And until you finish all of them. So the Ligero will be the last leaf because maybe you need to stay way longer than the others.
So just a quick note. This is a side point. The Behique, is that predominantly made of Ligero leaves? No? Because that's what like...
Medio Tempo.
Middle section.
Medio Tempo is the very top leaf.
Oh, the tiny ones.
Which not every single plant have it.
Right.
And that is a myth that a lot of people say only in Cuba they use Medio Tempo or not. Every country uses Medio Tempo, but just didn't make that as a interesting point. In Cuba they say the Behique is the Medio Tempo leaf. That's why you don't have so much Behiques on specific years because
the leaves are quite
small. The leaves are not good enough and stuff like that.
But they're also quite small, aren't they? They're not as big. So what's so good about them as opposed to the top leaf that most people use?
They're usually very top on the leaf. They're close to the sun. They're way better in the minerals. Of course, the minerals after that go into the oils. But after the fermentation.
But Behique cigars are mild.
It's mild because it's how you ferment the leaves.
Okay, so they leave them for longer.
Yeah. Well, after the curing process, we're going to the next stage, which is the fermentation. So imagine the leaves go down up to between 16-18% of water. So they are ready to go to the fermentation. In that whole process of curing, you get rid of the nicotine, some of the nicotine, some of the bitterness, which is coming from the tannin acid. What was the other one element? Which is you get rid of my
ammonia.
Ammonia, exactly. Yeah. So you get rid of the ammonia, tannin acid, and
man, these fermentation houses must smell like bleach or something.
Yeah, they have the curing barns smell more badly because most of the stuff happening in the curing barn in the first process. So when you have, after that, you have fermentation warehouses, let's say warehouses. They make peones or piles, bales with leaves. So basically all the leaves going into the specific looking bale where all the, you put all the leaves in a specific way. We don't have pictures to show, but people can Google and see how the pilones look like. So basically about 1.2 tons of kilograms, about my height, 180, 2 meters high, 2 meters wide, something like that.
Yeah.
And they stay there in the fermentation for about 2 months, up to 2 months in that fermentation room. And basically it's very important here is to get the temperature every single day, to check the temperature.
Yeah.
Because that is a process like...
it must be relatively difficult. Do you think, is it easy to keep the temperature consistent in some of these countries like Nicaragua, Dominican Republic and Cuba?
There is a ways. So they don't leave the peones like that when they build them. Every 10 days they rotate them. So every leaf you put in the peones need to be in the bottom, in some point need to be on the top, in some point need to be in the middle, At some point, you need to be outside.
Right.
So basically, what they do, the bottom part, after 10 days, they put it on the top. Top part going in the middle, on the bottom. The middle part, they switch the inside stuff. You know, the inside going outside, the outside leaf going inside. And that's rotated like 4 times.
Right.
Until every leaf being properly rotated. Because if you keep them, you might have overburnt, you know. And basically when the temperatures stop raising, because itself, you know, that's a simple chemical process. If the temperature is steady about 46 degrees, you know, that's the leaves are probably ready.
Okay.
It might be, it's not necessary to be happening in 30 days or 32 days or 40. It could happen in 30 days, it could happen in 50 days.
So what's this idea that Cuban cigars are not generally fermented long enough? This kind of hit my throat, by the way.
Well, not fermented enough. You know, they supposed to use the same technology. I don't know why the people think sometimes they're not fermented enough. Maybe because they have ammonia. You know, sometimes when you smoke a fresh Cuban cigar, you have the ammonia. You straight away hit the ammonia. If they didn't get rid of the ammonia, because
if you can smell the ammonia.
But imagine, for example, that cigar. So Ipicario made that cigar. After the fermentation, after all the processes, he will go and take a couple leaves, roll them, smoke them. In Cuba, I'm not sure how the master blenders doing that one, or just the people follow the old recipe of aging the tobacco and stuff like that. You know, if you have a decent master blender, now I'm not telling that the Cuban don't have a decent master blenders. Of course they have, but maybe they don't care much because they're on a salary on the government. You know, if that's your company, maybe you care a little bit more about the cigars. You know, imagine it's your company, and if a lot of people complaining about your cigars because they've been ammonia, they have bitterness, that's because they're not being fermented well. So, yeah. In the next stage, if we go in the process, is the fermentation. So after that, peones, bales, let's say the leaves are ready. So what they do, they go to the room or next part of the warehouse where they separate the leaves. So they separate the good quality leaves for wrapper and binder, and the rest for filler. So the wrapper.
What's the defining factor between wrapper, binder,
quality.
and filler? So I know the differences between 3 leaves, but let's just make it clear. What's the key differences between how they determine the wrapper, how they determine the binder, and how they determine the filler?
So if you have a bad-looking leaves,
that's not going to be a wrapper.
Not going to be a wrapper. So the wrapper usually is a thinner leaves, without any major holes, veins, stuff like that, which looks silky, nice. You know, the color is right, and that's what the wrapper is usually. And when you separate the wrapper and the binder from the rest of the leaves, so usually the filler go for the second fermentation, same process again. And the wrapper and the binder as well can go for the second fermentation, but it's not necessary. So some company decide to go on to stop the fermentation process, so they wrap them in banana leaves, just to stop that piles of leaves. They wrap them into the banana leaves and they stop the fermentation process. A lot of companies used to have the second fermentation process again. So when the first process finish, the leaves are dry.
Yeah,
you can't work with them.
You gotta rehydrate them.
Rehydrate them. You know, they have different techniques. In Cuba, use sprayers. Some company, Dominican Republic, use machine, which like car wash machines. You know, just sprinkle everywhere. That kind of stuff.
I thought they use like a mist as well.
Well, a mist, yeah, it's different. It's just bring water into the leaves.
Yeah.
So when you hydrate them again, put them again to the second stage of fermentation again, get rid of the water, get rid of the useless ammonia, if there's still ammonia into the leaves. You need to, that's the idea, to get rid of the ammonia, get rid of the bitterness, tanninize it as much as possible.
Just get rid of some of those harsher flavors. So
yes.
So they tend to be.
And after the second fermentation process, there is a third one for the binder, for the filler. Wrapper and the binder, I never heard someone doing third fermentation process.
So why is the filler getting?
Because the filler, you don't care about the color on that leaves. You don't really care about the anything look nice or something. Just need to get rid of all the bad stuff. That's why you ferment it again.
Yeah.
And usually, Also, you have to separate the leaves on the color. You know, you have to separate the ligero, the viso, the seco, the strong leaves, not so strong leaves. So if the leaf is the bottom leaves like seco and volado, they don't need to ferment long because they are very thin. So they very quickly ferment and they go for the next stage. But if you ferment ligero, need slightly longer to ferment ligero.
Yeah.
So
we've got someone knocking on the door. I think it's Amazon. Mate, just leave it at the door, mate. Just leave it at the door. Thanks, man.
Live stream problems.
Hey.
That's the problem with live streams, isn't it?
Yeah. So the fermentation process is gone.
The guy was looking at me like, "What the hell are you doing?"
The fermentation process is gone. So you're supposed to have all different leaves fermented, separate by class, by type. You know, the different leaves for wrapper, for binder, and everything, and you're ready to roll.
Okay, so let's get into the aging. A lot of people pre-age cigars. A lot of manufacturers, sorry, they pre-age the tobacco, right? So this is something that I've been kind of. I'm not against it, obviously. I'm all for pre-aged tobacco. I want, you know, if you're aging your tobacco before you're making your cigars, that's fantastic for the customer. This is probably not something that a lot of. I doubt that Cubans are doing this a lot. But when you age tobacco before you roll it, it can't be the same thing as aging the cigar once it's all wrapped up, right? Well, it's a very different process.
It can, because once you roll the cigar, you mix the different leaves. You have the proper blend. And then when you start aging cigars,
yes, they blend together, they change, they adjust.
They have to adjust. You know, if you store them properly, you need to get rid of all the bad stuff which still left into the cigar.
Yeah.
And that's the maduration process start, and basically, yeah, it's not the same. A lot of company age tobacco. I know company having a tobacco which is 30, 40 years old. Not in the rolled cigars, just rolled tobacco.
Yeah.
It's have his benefits, but also it's a big investment to do that kind of stuff, because basically you harvest the leaves and you didn't do nothing with them. You keep them in your warehouse.
Years, yeah.
You could have a lot of problems. You can have white mold, you can have a blue mold, you can have bugs, you can have even some disaster like fire or
a lot can happen in 30 years.
A lot can happen even in 1 year.
Yeah.
Imagine if you do that 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. And that's why it's not really easy for a lot of company to do that kind of process. They just roll. They usually roll most of the New World cigars. They keep their leaves for at least 18 months before they start rolling it. That's like proper, you know, you have slightly aged taste, especially on the ligero leaves.
Yeah.
You know, all the dark leaves, they improve with age. All the bright ones, not so. You know, if you age Connecticut for many years.
Is that the same with Cubans?
Yeah, Cubans usually use slightly brighter wrapper. You know, Connecticut, Claro.
Well, Cubans are quite bright.
Some of the Cubans are slightly going to the Colorado Claro, but Maduro. How many Cubans have Maduro wrapper? Not many.
Cohiba, Partagas, yeah, not many.
Not many.
Partagas.
How many have Oscuro? That is Oscuro. None.
No.
None.
Well, sometimes a Bolivar can look like that.
Yeah,
but it's not the same thing.
It's not that strong as that one.
Yeah.
So that's why the Cubans don't age. I guess don't age that much the cigars, you know. And also the demand. We mentioned in the previous episode, probably the Cuba make 120 million cigars a year. Nicaragua itself make only for America 400 millions, only for America. So
wow,
look the difference.
That's a huge difference. So
we've got some questions coming.
Okay, yeah, go on.
First one, and probably most importantly, Ray, are you a time traveller?
I believe he is.
Am I a time traveller? I'm not Doctor Who.
Well, we've got here a crossover of Indiana Jones and Hercule Poirot. Although I think Doctor Who as well.
Well, to be fair, he's the only person who's got cigars that I know that are about 120 years old. So I'm just saying, maybe he bought them in store and not at an auction.
Okay, so you're just saying he's really old.
I have a birthday tomorrow.
No, I said time traveller.
121st.
Yeah, it's Ray's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Ray.
Next question is actually about those cigars? I mean, people are basically asking about them. You know, has it developed any taste? What they like?
Oh, I can talk about this.
Yeah.
I've got something to talk about.
Talk about this.
Okay, this cigar is actually ramping up quite nicely. I wasn't expecting any flavors. It's coming in quite nicely. Like I'm getting. I find that if you puff a little harder on this, you get a little bit more flavor come through. I don't know why that is, but that's working.
It's not been out of the box, sitting in that box for many years. I believe probably when you lit it, temperature start to expand the leaves and that kind of stuff. You know, it's a very big risk with that kind of cigars because you might not find anything. You don't know how they've been stored. Yeah, obviously I'm not 120 years old. I have no idea how they've been stored. So I bought them in my collection about 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago. I have no idea how they've been stored before, and it's more easy with that kind of cigars, which are not Cuban or long filler, because they don't require to sit in the humidor all the time. They just need to be in a not humid place, not on a sunny place. Relatively
easy to
They because the technology they made, they're dry cured cigars with slightly different technologies than the long filler Cuban or New World cigars, and it's easy to store them for many years without any problems.
Of course, yeah. This cigar, in terms of flavor, it's got a nice tanginess to it. I wouldn't say it's like a citrus type tangy. I can't really put my finger on it.
That is very good catch about the citrus. I didn't mention to you anything because I want you to tell me what you think. You know, I know what stuff you can bring because I smoked a lot of them.
So started off with like a coffee note, went into like a very like not creamy, but almost like a milk chocolatey, but very subtle.
When I mention you, the wrapper on that cigars. And maybe the whole tobacco. I'm not sure about the filler and binder.
Or is it Brazilian, right?
It's Brazilian.
Yeah.
Which is tremendously known for his sweetness, slightly strong stuff, slight citrus notes, orange. There's a specific cigar called La Rana, which is basically like smoking orange without even added anything, just the tobacco made in the cigar. And also the coffee and the cocoa. Same specific taste and aromas in Brazilian tobacco. So you can literally feel still the taste of the cocoa and even hints of it. Even hints. I'm not getting hints to be like, wow, blow mine. But
I'm getting hints of cocoa, but that tanginess, definitely there. I wouldn't say it's like a citrus tang. Like there's a little hint of that, maybe like a slight orangey, but it's not really exactly that. Do you know what I mean? Like if I go and have an orange from my kitchen, it's not going to taste like that. But there is something familiar about that tanginess, which is quite nice. So,
what are these again?
I don't know.
Well,
man.
they're not. I had some of
they're called Puros Extra.
Yeah, Puros Extra number 54. It's not some well-known brand because back from that times there is not many brands which still exist. I have some brands which they start making cigars like 1930s, 1940s. I have, they have nice looking boxes, colorful with all the lithography and all kind of stuff. But that is before that, when basically the boom of the cigars on that time being in America. So in America, in that time, funny enough, maybe not many people know, there was a more than 100,000 different brands of cigars. Imagine that. 100,000.
When was this?
Late 1880s, 1890s.
Wow.
Up to 900
brands.
Not, in America.
Not lines.
Not lines. Brands. Every single shop have his own brand. Every single shop making his own cigars.
Yeah.
Some of the brands, I know people collecting boxes and labels of that age. Some of the stuff is looking amazing. You know, the effort you put in their boxes, you not see them in the half of the boxes in our days. And basically Tampa being like the capital, Tampa and Ybor City, which started slightly later, they've been the capital of the cigars. Not Cuba, not Nicaragua, not Spain. Tampa in US.
Tampa in US. Florida. Well, it is on that coastline almost, what is it, 500 miles? 500 nautical?
Yeah,
500 knots or something?
America grow a lot of tobacco back in the time.
Well, it's got a lot of land.
Pennsylvania, yeah. And they have decent states where you can grow tobacco without any problem.
By the way, I just want to give a thank you to the person who's given us these cigars. Your friend. I forgot his name.
Georgie.
I was going to say George. So we received some cigars from Georgie, who lives in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just wanted to give a huge thank you to you. Sent us, is that coming up? Yeah. Sent us Opus X, Fundadorus, and I don't know the others. Ray knows what the others are. I don't.
Grey Cliff, Antonio City by Hoya, and one of the cigars is local to him. It's not well-known brown. It's called, I have the name, write it down because I never heard of it as well. It's a small production, but the cigar look amazing. If you look that cigar, the second cigar, look how oily and how interesting look the cigar. You know, it's like basically being topped in oil.
I'm not going to smoke this.
I reckon it's not going to be that strong.
No, you know this is strong for me. Come on.
Well,
look at that.
Try.
Just look at that. Oh, by the way, we've got another guest with us today. We've got Rachel. Hello, Rachel.
Hi.
No one can hear you. It's fine. Rachel's decided to join us. She's going to be smoking some cigars with us as well, right?
I am.
Yeah. Again, no one can hear you.
So I can say shit, piss, butt, cock, so the motherfucker
Yeah, basically.
They can hear you a bit.
Yeah, so thanks for that. I mean, good thing this isn't monetized. Ray, Rafa, if you're watching this, sorry, it wasn't me, it was her.
I'm sure you'll be glad to get your mouth around that, won't you?
Shut up.
What was the other questions? You say you have...
Yeah, they can hear you.
You say we have more questions. What's the
Okay, let's go for the questions.
So, we have... we have a new commenter who hasn't commented before, a guy called Alex Burns, good name.
Yeah, of course you're going to say it's a good name.
Yep. Hi, Alex. He was asking...
the guy who say we can hear 100 years, he's a very good friend of mine. Andre, hope you're doing well, buddy. It's a guy in Sweden, which if you guys want to see proper cigar reviews, Andre have his webpage. He made 600 reviews so far.
Damn.
Yeah, so...
Damn, I'm on amateur hour compared to him, man.
Andre is a decent guy, well known from everyone there, and yeah.
600 reviews.
600 reviews on his webpage, yeah.
Andre, oh man, you are killing it. Holy crap,
and
I need to step up my game, man.
He carry on, so yeah.
Whoo! It's not even a competition. That guy's way. Well done, Andre. That's incredible, man. 600. I want to check out the website. I'm going to definitely be having a look at that website.
Yeah.
I hope it's got like a subscribe feature. Mate, start a YouTube channel. Clearly, you know what you're doing.
So we have... Oh, I've lost my place now. So yeah, Alex Burns is asking how long you would age a Guantanamera.
Alex Burns is a great friend of mine. He also he meet us, last time on issue. He's the guy from Birmingham.
Oh, is he?
That's Alex Burns. So he know how I feel about Guantanamera and etc. And I know why he asked me that. But I will not age Guantanamera. I don't know.
Can you even age them?
Of course you can.
What?
Of course you can.
What are you gonna do? Make it more bland?
Well, funny enough, I smoked Guantanamera, which is about 20 years old, and it was amazing.
Shut up.
Yeah, I'm not joking. Yeah, it was decent. Guantanamera back in the time was decent cigar.
Yeah, but that's not the same as aging current cigars.
Well, if you pick one of the cigar made now and smoke it in 20 years, probably will be better. Yeah. But I just don't want to pick a Guantanamera and keep them in 20 years, The
problem is there's no way to verify that either. Because we don't know whether Guantanamera used to make good cigars, which have aged well, or if it's the fact that the aging process has made them into good cigars. There's no way to tell.
The aging process, probably.
I don't know, man. Like, I can't imagine them aging well. They're freaking bland as hell right now. What are they going to age into?
I don't know.
Dust.
It's a good point. One of the things I was planning to talk, it's called maduration process.
Yeah.
Especially with the Cubans. It's very, very popular with the Cubans. So basically, when the cigar is, imagine timeline of the cigar.
Yeah.
You buy the cigar which is being produced this year. So the cigar is young, less than a year old. Probably is full with tannin acid, nicotine, ammonia, even Cubans. It will be, you can feel that.
Yeah.
Cigar is young. The next timeline will be between first and the third year. So that's when most of the Cuban cigars supposed to be smoked. You know, age them 1 to 3 years. That's why Cuba implement the Reserva band, which is the 3 years old. You know, some cigars with the 3 years old age, they supposed to be amazing. Years. No, the
Gran Reserva, right?
No, the Reserva is 3 years. The Gran Reserva is 5 years.
Oh, I see. I see.
So the Reserva is the silver band. So 3 years on it, cigar is supposed to smoke amazing.
Okay.
Then you have the next stage, which is after around the 5th year, when the cigar going into the first maduration process. What's the maduration process? Basically, the fermenting.
So this is, just to clarify, this is when you have a fully rolled cigar or a box of cigars. You've got a box of cigars going, and what you want to do is you want to age these cigars. So you get them at the beginning. They've got those, you know, tannin acids. They've got the nicotine. They've got the potentially they've got some ammonia in, and over the first 3 years, they have a particular aging process.
Yeah, they start aging.
Okay.
Not probably aged properly because you know it's a new cigar. You can't. Well, as new as the cigar, that fast is aging. You know, if you can get me. You know, if it's old cigar, it's aging way slower. So if it's a new cigar, start aging quicker because there's a plenty of stuff in there to get rid of it. And around 5th year, the cigar is supposed to be amazing, Cuban cigars. Not all the time happen. You know, you go into the maduration process, which is usually take a couple years, up to 3 years probably. It's not that years, I'm telling you. It's not.
So it's the first 3 years which are crucial because he needs to go into the maturation process, and it's up to the 5th year where that maturation process kind of not complete but gets to a point where it's very, very good.
Probably go up to the 7th year. It's all depends. As I say, I'm telling years, which is just approximately, could be different with every cigar, but just let's say clarify them by that years, and then the cigar stop developed and just aged, doing nothing. Even some cigars are horrible. I smoked earlier today, Punch Limited Edition 2013. Awful. I'm not joking. Awful. Tastes bitter. Tastes ammonia. It's 8 years old, 9 years old. Awful. So that kind of cigars, they need to go into the second maduration process, which is coming around 15th year.
Damn.
Then, even if the cigar is bad at the beginning, you can have an amazing cigar after that. I have a great example with the Romeo and Juliet Churchill.
So here's a question. Sorry for it, but
yeah, go on.
Let's say you've got a box of cigars that you want to age. Now, people when they age drinks, like let's say for example, when you've got a distillery that's aging a particular whiskey, what they'll do is they'll go in on occasions, like every few years or something. They'll take a little sip and make sure that everything's okay. Now with cigars, you can't necessarily just take a puff and put it back in.
That's the only way to find out.
But do you have to smoke one of them just to be able to?
If you don't smoke them, you don't know how they're going to develop.
Yeah.
They might go in a vacuum. There's a vacuum. There's a term called vacuum, where the cigar basically doesn't move. You don't do any fermentation, don't age. If you smoke it now, if you smoke it in 15 years, same taste.
So what's causing that?
It's not something to cause it. It's just some blends like that. Maybe the cigar not being fermented well. Maybe the cigar being... No idea what that causes,
You could talk loudly, Rachel. It's cool.
Is that what these 120-year-old cigars then do? Because they...
But these are cured cigars, aren't they? So
they're slightly different there, yeah. They're cured. Maybe in some point they've been into all that processes, maduration, vacuum and stuff like that, but that's 100 and not many researchers done on that kind of cigars. All the researchers I've read, I care about, and proper researchers by the people which collect cigars. Doing for cigars which are made about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, because before that it's been miss and go. Some cigars being amazing, some other being just not been much care about them.
Yeah.
They use different wrappers back in the time, especially the Cubans. They use the proper Cuban seed, Corojo and Criollo, before the hybridization in 1990s. And it's a lot of unknown. In the cigar, in the aging cigars and fermenting world, it's a lot of unknown. It's just trials. People try experimenting. That's how I like. That's why I like old stuff. Experiment all the time.
Here's what I think we should cover quickly, and not even quickly. Let's cover it in a little bit of detail. So,
before you do that,
go on.
I thought, just to summarise what you just said, because Kieran really wants his question answered.
Hi, Kieran.
For you know, essentially, if you've got a new box of new cigars, how long do you think they need to be aged for? Like,
that's what we're gonna. That's literally what I'm gonna ask.
Right,
yeah.
well, there we go.
So let's talk specifically about this because that's one of the. Let me just ask the question.
New World Cigars.
Let's start off with Cuban because the channel is predominantly Cuban until you
Cuban cigars.
But let me just ask the question though. What I want you to do is just kind of like go through in maybe not the greatest of detail, but a good amount of detail, just discussing how long in general, what kind of things that you need to be doing, you know, just kind of like a how-to guide type of process on how to age cigars. And what I want to do is I want to write this down as well. So what we'll do is once, you know, Ray's given this and everything, I'm also going to be writing up an article discussing this specific, or I'm going to get Ray to write the article and we can put it on the site along with this video. And that way you've got like a process. So if you do miss this, or, you know, you're kind of like whatever, then we've got it written down as well. So let's cover that point, because I think that's an important point to cover.
How you age the cigar, how you store them.
So how you age them?
There is a numbers and you know, degrees and everything, you know, the Celsius, Fahrenheit stuff. None of that particular numbers I'm gonna tell you, they need to be 100% followed. There's some books telling that the cigar need to be stored between 65 and 70% humidity.
Yeah,
that's the optimum.
That's the standard. That's the standard advice.
The best. But I personally stored my cigars around 63. I found them slightly better when I smoked them. You're looking what to smoke.
Yeah, I'm deciding. I'm trying to
smoke
decide.
the Hoya.
The Hoya, which one?
Yeah,
oh, the Hoya
yeah.
Nicaragua.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm gonna tell you why.
But this is long fill, isn't it? The other ones were, yeah. First of all, look at the cellophane. Is that coming up?
That is some of my oldest New World cigars I have.
So this,
take off the cellophane and you'll see properly how brown is. So that's Hoya de Nicaragua, made around 1970s. I've got that verified by Juan Martinez from Hoya.
Damn, look at this, Rachel.
It's an amazing cigar.
I'm just
they're miss and go. I have 5 different boxes with different details. Some of them are, look at the seal. You know, look.
Oh yeah, sorry. People want to see the cellophane. What happened? What am I missing?
So look at that. Put it next to the white shirt.
This used to be white.
Yeah, look at that.
I'm not wearing shit. Maybe I need to get some Daz.
So it's a brown, and the cigar
very musky.
Yeah,
very musky.
Usually the long fillers have that muskiness. Usually, even Cubans, some of them, most of them have muskiness. I smoked one of those last night just to make sure they're alright for smoking, because I haven't smoked one for many years, and I found them slightly have a slight aftertaste on iodine, which is normal. Slight aftertaste on what? Iodine. You know, the
iodine. Oh, okay. Iodine. I was like, I thought you said you're dying. I was like, huh?
Well, you are.
My fun accent, you know, so iodine, yeah. They have that slight aftertaste,
okay,
which is not the most pleasant thing, but it's a part of it's a chemical reaction, basically. You smoke 40, 50 years old New World cigar.
So which cigars, right, let's get into that. Let's get into the actual aging process. So from start to finish, the advice...
As I say, 65, 70%, usually between 16 and 18 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
It's not a problem to keep them slightly more, but you might, if you go over humidified, over hot place, you have a lot of problems coming. So if you have
where would you kind of like recommend not the temperature, the humidity the most? What humidity would you recommend?
65.
65.
I would say 65 over 18 degrees.
This is specifically for aging and not storing.
Yeah.
Which is a very different thing. So,
yeah, well, the storing need to be as well in that temperature, because if you store the cigars in that temperature, humidity...
normally people store cigars for quick access and smoking, right?
Well, it's not a problem to get one of them and smoke them in that conditions. They're perfect. Okay. It's not a problem.
Okay.
You know, it's a personal preference if you want more soak cigar, more humidified cigar, or more drier cigar.
Yeah.
I know people keep their cigars on 75. I know people keep them on 60. it's not a problem. If you have personal preference and if you like them that way, you know, it's just try. Change the humidification system in your humidor, see what you like, how you like them. But if you want to age them properly, I would say 65 on between 16 and 18 degrees.
This smells amazing, by the way.
So
this smells amazing.
In that time, if you keep the cigars on cold place, it's not a good idea, because colder temperature stop the process. Basically, slow the process. Imagine you keep them on 5 degrees. You're not going to have any bugs. If it's dry, you're not going to have any mold, but you stop the fermenting process. And in some point...
So what temperature would you aim for?
16, 18.
16,
Celsius.
18.
I don't know how was that in Fahrenheit.
16 or 18. Most of our... What is that in Fahrenheit? That's about...
I don't know, guys. So you need to check. It was in Fahrenheit. I don't use Fahrenheit, and I have no idea. But 16 to 18, 65 degree, 65% humidity. That's for me is the perfect temperature to age in cigars. Also for smoking, I keep mine on 63, 64, which is not bad. I don't.
Oh, I know what you mean by the iodine flavor. Oh, it started off great.
You have the aftertaste,
and then it just hit me in the back of my throat. Oh,
yeah. That happens sometimes. Not all the cigars are like that.
Oh.
But you have that sometimes.
Oof. That is very strong.
Purchase a cigar, yeah. But you see that how you still feel, even that unpleasant taste, you have the taste still in the cigar after 50 years.
Let's see if purging helps.
16C is 60 Fahrenheit. Thank
you.
Andre.
So, yeah, that's the best, in my opinion, the best temperature, the best humidity to keep the cigars in related to age them. Where to store them?
Okay, that's better now.
I will recommend don't try to age cigars in a desktop humidors. Not because it's bad, but because you open them all the time and there's a lot of new air coming into the cigars, which is not the best thing to age proper cigars. Or if you store cigars in a desktop humidors, seal them in the zip bags with Bovedas inside. Yeah. It's easy to place a 65 Bovedas in every box. Most of the boxes have spaces to put a Boveda bags in there. Keep them there, seal the bag, and that's it. Don't touch the bag.
Something Roger C, hello Roger, has asked, which I hadn't ever considered, although, I don't know. Can you age different brands in the same humidor?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a discussion here. A lot of aficionados or people who collect cigars, they say no. I would say it's not a problem. So the cigars are made basically by the same technology. Yeah, they use different tobaccos from different countries. Some of them will not gonna age. I don't know many people aging more than 10 years New World cigars. So if you want to age New World cigars for more than 10 years, you might literally ruin the blend and everything. Because they're not made to be aged, most of them.
Why are they not made to be aged?
Because they've been aged when they're old. The tobacco been aged. They're already in their prime. And of course, when you age them, you lose the power. So if you smoke strong cigars, you're not about to aging. Don't age cigars. You're not gonna have anything better.
Yeah.
So they lose power.
a lot of because the American market in general, they tend to prefer stronger cigars.
Yeah. Usually.
So because I mean it's a generalization obviously, but it's based on a lot of truths in terms of like what kind of cigars actually sell there, and the majority of cigars in the US markets tend to be strong. Now, if they prefer strong cigars, aging these cigars doesn't really make sense because you're literally taking away one of the most popular qualities of those cigars that people in that market want. So
yeah, you're taking out the strength,
which is what most people want in the States.
You bring stuff when you age them, not only taken.
So what do you get when with New World cigars? Do you get more? Do you get like flavors? Like you're taking away the strength, but
yes, you get more flavors, more decent flavors. You get sweetness. Every aged cigar has slight sweetness and creaminess. You bring that to the cigar. Also, you get rid of the tannin acid.
Yeah.
And if you want to pair cigars with wine, then there's a good pairing. You know, I like drinking wine with cigars, and the aged cigars are way better to pair with the wine instead of some new cigar, because you got the tannin acid, you know, tannin or tannin, I don't know how you're telling it right, but yeah, you get rid of the power, the strength, but you bring a lot of taste, full flavor taste, creaminess, sweetness, you bring that to the cigar.
Interesting. So it's not just a matter of removing some of the ammonia and reducing the strength of the nicotine. It's more than just
good made cigar don't have the ammonia taste. If the cigar is proper, well made, you smoke some expensive cigars, not only the expensive, I mean, you can buy $5 cigars still with plenty of taste and aromas, but well-made cigar, usually being fermented more, aged, leaves being aged more, and that's why you pay slightly more for that cigars. You know, not why some cigars worth $15, why some cigars worth $5 coming from the same factory.
Yeah.
From the same blender, same roller probably. Why some of them are more expensive than the others? Because the more expensive one used more old tobacco, more aged tobacco, more rare tobacco, and that's why I bring the money. Because as I mentioned in the beginning, if you want to age the tobacco for 10 years, that means that 10 years you don't have profit from that tobacco.
Exactly, yeah.
So in 10 years, it could be. Last night I was been on a call with Juan Martinez from Joya. It was a Puro Sabor second evening. So he showed a catalog with Joya de Nicaragua cigar made in 1968 with the prices. So the Joya de Nicaragua, the biggest size, Viante, I think is like 9 by 50 something. Back in the 1968, worth 85 pence.
Yeah, now, 85 pence.
Now it's $15.
Inflation as well, though.
Inflation, yes, but as well the a lot of different factors in there. So that at the moment it's as I mentioned, some cigars might worth a lot because they use different tobacco.
Yeah.
Rare, aged.
So let's go back to it. So avoid desktop humidors. If the desktop humidor is one that you access regularly. Well, if you can seal it up and put it somewhere where you're not going to be touching it and it's just full of those cigars that you want to age, it's not cigars that you want to smoke, then that could work. But in general, try and avoid desktop humidors.
Usually, I'm not seeing many people using desktop humidors for aging cigars because they are small. You know, the desktop humidor is 100 count, 200, 300 count. 300 count, it's a decent 10 boxes. So if you're going to age 10 boxes, well, you're not going to smoke or what? You know, I have a desktop humidor.
But you also don't have enough space between like the cigars as well, because you kind of like.
If they're in the boxes, you don't need any space. Just box next to.
No, I mean like if you're putting into a desktop humidor, you can't really put boxes in a desktop humidor.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The desktop humidors are very good, very practical. They're one of the best solutions to keep your cigars, but to age them, you don't have much spaces. I've seen desktop humidors for 500 cigars, which still 500 without boxes in a robusto size. If you use boxes, you know, some of the cabinets, 50 cigars, Cuban cabinets, Joyo and many brands. If you buy a box, even let's say good looking box, Bejique or Limitada something, they're big boxes. They have even the cartons and everything. If you keep all that, usually the luxury Cubans have even the pouch made from textile or something, you know. So that keeps space. You can't put in a desktop humidor 3 boxes of Bejique and that's it. Because you want to open and you want to smoke. You know, if you have 10 desktop humidors, you might use it for that. But
that's just impractical.
It's impractical, yeah. The best solution is cabinets. Proper cigar cabinets.
Would you mean like a Klarstein or something?
The Klarsteins, I am not fan of them.
Any reason?
Any reason? Because for me they're made for extreme weather. We don't have extreme weather in England.
Our summers are getting hotter.
Well, hotter for what? For 2 weeks.
Yeah,
that's not true. Extreme weather.
Yeah.
You don't have 3 months on 40 degrees and 3 months on minus 20.
Yeah.
You don't have that. So you have constant temperature 15, 20 degrees. Let's say half of the year. You've got 15 degrees.
So why aren't you a fan? I mean, if they still manage the temperature, so they're doing a good thing.
Yes, but first of all, I don't like that electrification. It looks like fridge.
Because it is in essence, yeah.
It is, but I prefer the wooden cabinets. Or it might be old one. It might be converted ones.
You could line it up in wood.
You can line it, but still, it's not the same.
Is it just okay? So it's not the.
I'm born 110 years ago. You know, we don't have.
So it's less about the fact that they're not good. It's more about the fact that you personally don't prefer them.
Again, the biggest Klarsteins, they're not that big.
No, they're like what? Waist time?
75 liters is the big one, I think. Liebherr have slightly bigger, but still, you can't put so many boxes to age in there.
Yeah, but in all fairness, we all don't have like 15,000 cigars, man.
Yeah, but if you start aging cigars, you need to think about that stuff.
True, because you're not going to be
if you age cigars, you not touch that cigars for significant amount of time.
So you're going to start piling up cigars.
So you're going to start piling, or you buy them from a collections, you buy from an auctions, already old cigars. You need space to age them. It's not just to...
So the first port of call, the first thing that you need to do if you want to age cigars is make sure you've got the space.
Think how you're going to store them.
That's the key thing. So would you say you need to age them in the box or out the box? Which one is better?
In the box.
In
the
the
box is cedar box. Yeah. Basically, they need to be surrounded by cedar because you know that it's a neutral wood which not bring any flavor to the cigars and stuff. You know, there's a cheap solution for agents or storing cigars. Troubadours, plastic boxes. There's nothing wrong. Put the cedar.
Do they age in them as well? I thought the wood has an impact where it kind of like helps with the aging process.
If you keep them in the boxes, the cigars are in the boxes, proper sealed plastic box with the cedar sheets on the side. Seal the box. Seal every single box in the Ziploc and Boveda.
I mean, I guess, do you know what? That's a good point. I mean, you could just get those big, massive plastic
a lot of people use them.
tubs, right?
I have a couple of them at the moment because I put some of the cigars there before I build my stuff. So I use them as well.
So yeah, you could just get one of those big plastic tubs. Yeah, do you know what? They're not even that expensive. You could go on
20
Amazon.
quid on a
20 quid. Yeah.
Aldi or Ikea or
you can
Amazon or whatever.
You can get like 50-litre ones as well.
Exactly. You can put 50 boxes in there.
Yeah, and they're huge. So you just put them in. Each box, you could just for each box, you just put in a Boveda.
So the really useful boxes just got even more useful.
Yeah, the really useful boxes just got even more useful. Do you know what? I never even thought about that.
Boveda inside, zip back, seal it.
And the plastic's not going to affect the cigars.
Absolutely not.
It's not going to do anything at all.
And the cigars are in the wooden boxes.
Yeah.
So they're in the original boxes.
That's a brilliant suggestion. So if you are starting off aging cigars, instead of looking at these ridiculously expensive humidors and whatever, big plastic tub, man.
A lot of people, I know collectors which have hundreds of thousands worth of collections. They use Troubadours. They use that because it's a cheap solution and it's easy to maintain.
But it's not even just a cheap solution, it's an effective solution. It works really well.
Easy to maintain as well.
Yeah, really easy to maintain, especially when you've got something like an aging process where you don't want lots of variables affecting things. You want to minimize the amount of issues that can come up because we're talking like 5 years, 10 years, right?
There's one issue which you can find if you live in a very hot place, the house is hot, you might not be able to control the temperature.
Bugs.
You know, because it's a plastic box. If you use a proper wooden, humidor, it's slightly more easy to keep the cigars more cool down. You know, but if you use plastic box, you make sure that's in the coolest place in the house, where is under chairs somewhere.
Well, if it's see-through, you could just make sure you could just cover it up.
Well, if you can maintain the temperatures to go more than 18-20 degrees, perfectly fine. It depends how is the stuff.
I mean, on the lid, you could just add like a butler or something, or just something to monitor it.
You can monitor it, but imagine it's happened like in your house is 25 degrees. What are you doing? You put them in the fridge? I don't think you have that big fridge. What are you doing?
Guess there's not much you can do.
Chest freezer.
Chest freezer, guys. Get a chest freezer, okay? Everyone needs a chest freezer.
You know what the people what I've seen in the past.
Yeah.
You know what I've seen people doing in that kind of stuff.
They
put bags with ice on the top.
I've thought of that,
because it's a sealed box.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have water inside.
Yeah.
It's not gonna keep that for ages. Just get a few bags of ice.
Well, you say it's not gonna have water in there. The humidity level is gonna be about 70%.
You're not gonna keep that ice for 3 days. You're gonna keep it for a couple hours to put them down.
Or as Joey says, put them inside a cooler bag.
Cooler bag. But
earlier, what about a wine fridge?
Yeah, that's a Class 9.
It's a Class 9 is a type of wine fridge. I think there's a proper
it's a Winador, but it's a Winador.
It's a special. Liebherr makes cigar coolers, but they're like 10 times more expensive than Class 9. The smallest Liebherr is $3,000. It's a proper cigar fridge and stuff. Wine coolers. I know there's a guy in the groups which convert them, and I know they have a specifics to be some kind of motor and stuff. I'm not into that stuff, guys, so I have no idea. But any solutions you might find which can keep your temperature, humidity pretty constant, use it. Old cabinets. I convert my first cabinet. It was old drawer. I convert it, seal it, use a paint, drill a holes into the drawers to have the humidity flow. I buy cigar oasis, which can basically maintain the humidity and move the flow and stuff. So I convert it, and I don't have any. I still use that cabinet.
What about airflow? If you got a big plastic tub, you've got no airflow.
Yeah.
So do you need airflow? I mean, not new air, but just
not necessary.
No.
But with that, you need to rotate your cigars then. Every couple of months, take out your cigars, rotate them.
Do you just pick up the boxes and
open the box and every single cigar move from its space?
Right, I see.
So move the cigars.
What about mold? How do you control that? Is that about? Do you need to open the box? Do you need to keep it closed? Does a Boveda help with that?
Mold. If you don't go more than 65-68% of humidity, you won't have mold. But let's say if you have mold, if you have very bad mold, like the cigars are white like cheese, probably the safest way is to bin them. Many people will smoke them, but I will not recommend it. It's a health issue about it. You can't smoke mold. Basically, it's dangerous. It's a cancer stuff and blah blah blah. If you want, you can wipe the mold with alcohol, strong alcohol. Use, if you have 60-70% alcohol, wipe them with the tissue.
I don't know, man. If it's on fire, I think it's fine.
Nah. Well, if you don't want to have
Alex,
a
what
mold,
do you think?
I mean, there's plenty of things that if they're on fire, they're not fire.
Except the cigar, right? The whole point of a cigar is supposed to be on fire.
If you're using Boveda...
I mean, a cigar is on fire, and that's really, strictly speaking, not fine also.
If you're using Boveda, you won't have any problems with mold.
I don't know.
Boveda works two ways.
It does work two ways, but it's not as effective. It's not as effective. On several occasions, I've had to take my Bovedas out of my humidors.
Why?
Because the humidity was going up.
It's not because of the Boveda. It will not over humidify your cigars.
There's
other problems, and the Boveda will keep humidified. If you put the dry bone Boveda in your over humidified cigars, the Boveda will soak that.
See, as soon as I took the Boveda out, that's when the humidity level started dropping down again.
Did you check your measurements?
I did. I recalibrated it.
Did you calibrate it?
I recalibrated.
And you think the Boveda is making a problem? Never seen that before.
I don't know. I mean, I took the Bovedas out, and then the humidity level dropped again.
Well, it's a lot of people. I don't really look my cigars every single day. I don't use Boveda butter because I think it's useless. But there's a lot of people.
Boveda is great, man.
Yeah, because you're checking your cigars every 10 minutes or what? What is the point of that?
That's the joy. You want to look at them.
My joy is to go open the drawer on my cabinet and smell.
It's like a baby monitor.
Close that. I do that every single day.
But it's like a baby monitor, man.
I don't like that kind of stuff. If you like that gadgets and stuff, electronics, yeah, go for it. It's not my stuff.
Would toasted mold not just taste like cheese on toast?
Yeah.
As Joey says.
Nothing wrong. It's on fire. It's fine.
Hey guys, it's your cigars. Do whatever you want.
Look, man, listen. If there's mold in a cigar and it's on fire, the bacteria is going to be killed.
I mean, speaking of fire, what temperature do the Bovedas work up until, says Gaz?
Oh yeah, that's an interesting point. What temperatures do Bovedas work up until properly?
Well, doesn't matter the temperature. They will soak the humidity, or if it's very dry, they basically what's going to happen. Imagine if it's very very hot weather, 40 degrees outside. You put the Boveda in the humidor. It's not going to be a problem, but the Boveda will be drier way quicker than usually.
What if they're on fire?
Shut up, baby.
Usually the Boveda you should last you if you use proper grams of Boveda. Every what was it? The biggest grams was 200 grams or something, 300. That's mean for 50 cigars. If you use them properly, every Boveda should last you at least 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months.
Yeah, easy.
But if the Boveda is become dry in a month, there's a problem. Yeah, it's the weather is hot, or the room is hot, or the humidor is not.
You might have a leak or something.
Yeah. So you need to check. If the Boveda lasts long, it's not a problem. I don't think the temperature influences Boveda in some way.
It does influence the overall humidity, because what happens is when the temperature increases, you've got more circulation.
More humidity, yeah.
Okay, so we've established that space is the first thing you need to be considering before anything. I mean, it sounds obvious, but I don't think I think a lot of people, including myself, we kind of get wrapped up in the actual cigar box and then we'll get them and like, yay, I've got no space now. What do I do? So plastic tubs, they're going to be an
fastest and cheapest solution. If you have the money, go buy a proper humidor, you know.
So you need the space, and you need to make sure you've got enough space for the boxes. You need to make sure that you're storing them, or ideally storing them in the original boxes, because that way they're going to age more effectively. Make sure every few months, how often?
Couple of months.
Every couple of months, rotate the cigars within the box. Don't shake them. Just rotate them gently.
Stir them.
Yeah, stir them.
Take out the box, put them back. You know, rotate the cigars. I not usually rotate my cigars.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something I'm completely agree with the rotation, because I never have mold. I don't have bugs.
But is the rotation more about the fact that, you know, the cigars are all getting enough access, or they're not just stagnating in one place?
It's I don't know.
So because
a lot of people collect cigars sealed boxes. You not rotate sealed boxes.
No,
they're sealed. You can't rotate them. You don't do nothing. You don't touch them. So it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Rotation is more about to make sure the cigars in a good condition, like mold or any other problems.
It's more about making sure that you haven't got humidity spots. Yeah. So it's not like you've got trapped air anywhere or something like that.
Some cigars I don't rotate them. You know, if cigars I smoke them daily or stuff, yeah, I just move them from one side to the other side. But some boxes which I haven't touched, for that box I bring you, I just opened it a few hours ago.
Very musky.
It was sealed. I'm not rotate that box. You can't rotate them. You see the cigars have different shapes. Yeah. The cigars have different shapes, even they're like box press, because they've been sitting in the box for many, many years.
I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not enjoying this one.
Yeah, I told you, you might not enjoy it. Yeah. Oof. Go on.
This is harsh.
Yeah, I know. It's
Rachel.
I've got a fun question.
Go on then.
Answering. What is the oldest recorded cigar ever?
Mayan.
Oldest, yes.
The Mayan cigars that went on auction for about $500,000. About 550 years old.
They've been found in a kind of jar, you know, like
ceramic. No, not ceramic. Clay
jar, somewhere in the mountains in South America. Some guy find them. They was perfectly stored because the jar being sealed hermetically. You know, it's not air, nothing.
I mean, the cigars were damaged though, but they weren't like the tobacco wasn't bad.
Yeah, they say can be smoked. I don't think someone will smoke that.
No.
You know, $500,000 worth of cigars. There was only 6 cigars, if I'm not mistaken. 6 cigars.
I can't remember. Yeah. I know that when I saw
jar
them.
with cigars. You know, basically very raw form of cigar, because that kind of rolling not been properly.
Yeah, it was just kind of. It was very
rolled leaves. Just the leaves rolled in shape of a round shape of a cigar.
It was basically just a hack to kind of like put together thing, but you could see that they were obviously producing cigars in a way that is relatively similar to what we're producing now. So it was interesting. I mean, they had damage on them, so they probably wouldn't draw properly, but in terms of like the tobacco and how they've been preserved, surprisingly well. Really, really well. 500 years? No mold?
You know what? I would love to smoke that, just to say that.
Yeah, I want to try as well. I think wants to smoke everything, so I want to try them as well.
I think try one, you know. I
think every cigar smoker wants to try it, but it's a matter of who wants to spend $500,000.
£500,000 you're smoking.
£500,000
quid, you're like £500,000 that you're smoking.
For 6
Everyone
cigars.
wants to put that in their mouth.
Not many people, you know, some of the most collectible cigars, people don't smoke them. I mentioned that last week. Some people collect cigars, they just keep them.
Ray, go on. Give them your, you know,
like
regular.
No, they keep it in the box. I have a guy which basically asked me to give him one of my cigars because they was quite rare, quite expensive, and I say, I'm pretty sure you have some of them. I know you're a collector. He say, I have 3 boxes sealed. I don't want to open them, but I want to try them. And
Alex,
he know that I open my boxes.
Have you stopped smoking, Alex?
I smoke my boxes. And I say, oh, not a problem, I'll send you. But I was surprised that he asked me for that because I was pretty sure he had them.
Tried that one. That was not damaged.
Someday it will.
It's the same one as
Is
this
it a
one.
bit like antiques where it like,
It's
increases
more
in
like
price?
investment.
Yeah, yeah.
If you want to sell full box of old Cuban cigars, they worth way more than if it's half box or one cigar missing or something like that. People just collect them in that way. Yeah, the Hoya, as I say, it's
Which
not,
one's the Hoya? This is the Upman.
The previous one. It's not the most pleasant cigar you smoke. I told you might find that kind of taste.
That was a tough smoke.
You see why usually you don't age
New World cigars.
New World, especially if they're not Maduro.
Okay.
Because they don't have that good taste. I have an example, of course. There's always exceptions
Yeah.
from that, but usually the rule is don't age that kind of cigars, and that cigar is not being stored properly in the most of the time because they have that aftertaste and stuff. I have decent ones which been stored, but as I say, my oldest one, other Hoya, it's a 9-inch long. That's a 3.5 hour smoke. And we don't have that time.
No. Wow. I mean, that's ridiculous. So let's try the Upman. This is an H. Upman Bremen. So this
That is only up, no H.
Oh, yeah, this is Upman. Sorry. This is H. Upman's brother.
Or
The
cousin.
lesser
Brother or
known,
cousin, yeah.
the lesser known, less successful Salieri to H. Upman. That's who he is, basically. Let's find out what these are like. So these are German, by the way, right?
German made around 1930s, 40s.
1930s or 40s.
Yeah.
Crap.
And what's this that I've got here?
I don't know.
That is, again German. There's a band on it. I think the band we take off because we was looking for plum.
Smell it.
That's actually is the cigar with the plum, which you can't see, guys, because we don't have the proper equipment.
So here's the thing. We might have something called plume. It might be a real thing, and I'm gonna explain.
Should I smoke this?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
It smells like ammonia.
Does it smell like ammonia?
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy that ammonia.
I can't smell it.
I can.
It's already cut. You don't need to cut it. It's pre-cut.
Oh.
So what's that thing on the bottom then?
No.
You just light it. It's a closed cap.
Yeah.
Closed foot.
And now you'll see how white ash will have that cigar. White ash. Because the
So,
minerals are different.
Do you know what? I want to smoke that then. It's a closed foot.
Smoke that with a seal fan. That is slightly cracks on it. You might not be... Try that if you want. Yeah, Alex smoking different. Alex smoked that with the seal fan.
Where's the seal fan? Cellophane.
Next to the Hoya.
Well, there was a question about cellophane there.
Next to the Hoya. Here.
This one.
No. Or maybe that from the box.
Oh,
yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
There was a question about
So Alex is
cellophane
smoking this one.
from Amir.
Go on.
What do you think about cellophane on cigars? You know,
Actually, that's a good point.
Does it affect the aging process and the humidity?
No, suppose not. Some people keep
A lot of people
cellophane.
say it does.
I don't think cellophane is made by plants. It's fully breathable.
It's breathable, but the thing is, it does reduce the amount by about 7 times.
Well, you won't find many cigars in cellophane worth aging. All the new Cubans are not in cellophane. You're not gonna find, if you want to age cellophane cigars, that would be New World. I would say don't age New World.
Yeah.
I removed the cellophane because I like how they look without the cellophane. But
Interesting.
it's, in my opinion, doesn't implement anything on the aging. Yeah, you're on a little journey during the years in Europe. You see,
Oh, this is a very white ash.
Yeah,
It's
it's
ash is white.
like piercing white.
Yeah.
So it's a closed foot. And just light it. I like that. Interesting.
Yeah,
This is-
most of that kind of cigars are usually pre-cut, V-cut, and they are like perfecto torpedo shape, you know, that kind of stuff usually. Back in the time, a lot of Germans use
very citrusy.
a lot of Germans use paper, what is it called, to put on the cigars, like filter, not filter, but like a mouthpiece with that kind of cigars. I don't know why. I have some of them. I never find the difference. I'm guessing it's been more fashionable to smoke them with mouthpiece, you know. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ladies,
It's, you know,
ladies type of cigarettes.
it was at one point, yeah.
What, at the end of the stick?
Yeah, you know, with the long gloves and the stick.
Plastic mouth. You know, the ladies smoke that because they don't want to be. You know why the cigars actually start using bands on the cigars.
So your fingers don't smell.
No, because when they start making cigars back in the 1970s, 80s, back in Spain, the first countries pretend to make cigars in Europe. Usually, cigars been mostly for the high-ranking people, the queen, the consorts, the baron, baroness, all kind of stuff like that. The royalties, and they usually wear gloves, white gloves, and the cigars make the gloves dirty. So some guy put the bands on the cigar to keep the cigar for the band and not make your gloves dirty.
Oh.
That's how the bands start being used in the cigars.
Well, it also stops your fingers from staining.
Maybe, yeah. But my fingers
it's easier to
stain,
wash your hands than it is to wash gloves.
Yeah, back in the time, the washing wasn't being popular, People didn't take a bath for months.
Oof.
They use perfumes.
I don't have a bath now. I've not had a bath in a year. I'm a smelly bastard. What can I say? Love it.
Sorry, guys. I thought, we're going to have a PG rating.
Lowering the tone.
It's 8 o'clock.
9.
Is it
9.
Oh, yeah,
Half
the
9.
went forward, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yes,
half
they
9.
did, yeah. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Pass the watershed again if this ever gets aired on the BBC.
How is that cigar?
This is a lot nicer.
Mild,
tangy, citrus flavors, creaminess to it. I don't know how the creaminess and the tanginess is working well, but it is. What do you think, Alex?
I mean, pretty much the same. I noticed actually it was it lit like in a second.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, is it just because it's wrapper leaf on the end or something? It just lit in.
It's wrapper leaf and it's very thin wrapper. It's not like mine. I need 5 minutes to light my cigar, to lit my cigar because it's Connecticut broadleaf and it's very thick wrapper and.
It's surprisingly very light.
Yeah, they're usually light.
Fresh, it's like a citrus.
Yeah.
It's like a refreshing cigar. This is a summer cigar. Good thing the weather's been good. Okay, so move your cigars around, rotate them. You don't necessarily need to do that, but it might be an idea if you don't want any weird humidity spots or airflow issues. Make sure you've got enough space. Make sure you check in on the cigars how often would you sample your aged stash?
I would say if you have a full box of 25, go for it every 5-6 months.
Every 6 months.
Yeah.
Try one.
Or if you have a box of 10, once in a year.
Just
if
to
you
kind of see
your favorite cigars, you want to age them. Let's say you buy Romeo and Juliet Churchill. You like Churchills. Get a new box. Keep it in your humidor for next 3 years. Don't touch them. After 3 years, start smoking one on your birthday or New Year or whatever you want. And you see how the cigar going different. You have enough for 10 years. So you go into the proper, at least the first maduration process, at least the first one. And you'll see the difference.
I see.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, if you've got a favorite box of cigars, just smoke one on your birthday and just let it last.
Some people used to smoke their favorite cigars on the birthday. Not me, but a lot of people doing it. So doing that way. As I mentioned in the beginning, 5 years ago, I buy Romeo and Juliet Short Churchill, 4 boxes. I found them cheap. I say I like Short Churchill. It's my favorite Churchills from that line. I buy 4 boxes. Literally open the box on the next day, start smoking them. 5 years ago, I smoked only Cubans. First 5 cigars, awful. No draw issue, just acidity, bitter, no taste and anything. And I say next one will be better. And that was 5 cigars.
Yeah.
None of the cigars was better.
Yeah, no, I felt that.
Close the box and I say, I'm not going to touch that boxes. And I didn't. 3 of them are still sealed. I don't know what's inside. The 4th one, which I opened already, I smoked one around New Year this year. So
How
5
many
years later.
5 years later.
5 years later. The box are, I believe they're 14th or 13th or 14th box code. So there was a year before I buy them. A year old or 2 years, something like that.
It's like 6-7 years.
Yeah. So I smoked one on New Year. And if you check my Instagram, I post picture. Literally the whole cigar was ash. Keep ash. I don't see that on a Cuban cigars often. You can stand the cigar. The basically was a short Churchill with what? About 4.5 inches. I have 4-inch ash on that cigar. And it's amazing taste. One of the best Cuban cigars I ever smoked. And that's a short Churchill. Not a limited edition. Not an expensive cigar. It's one of the cheapest Cuban cigars you can find.
Yeah.
I smoked another one 2 months later. That was about a few weeks ago. It wasn't that good. Still good, but not as the first one.
Yeah.
Same box. So you might be lucky sometimes. You might be, if you're very lucky, you might have all of them nice and decent.
Yeah.
If you not, you might have some of them not taste well, some of them not taste nice.
Just how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, it's a roulette.
What are the key things that you should avoid when aging cigars?
What you should avoid?
Yeah, what things should you avoid as much as you can when it comes to aging cigars?
Even if you want to smoke them quick, don't. First of all, try to not smoke them quick as possible.
Yeah, because they're not going to age.
When they say, I have a party, New Year party, my best mate coming to see me, or I have a new baby born, I want to smoke that cigar. Try to not smoke them as much as possible, unless you don't have any cigars and you want to smoke. Yeah, you'll smoke them. And I don't think not much to avoid. Just keep your temperature right, keep your humidity right. Don't play with them all the time. You might damage them if they're very thin wrapped and stuff. We're talking about Cubans. New World, I wouldn't recommend aged for more than 5
Are there
6,
any
10
New
years.
World cigars that you can age?
I have the best New World cigars I have aged are probably La Flor Dominicana.
Yeah?
I have a few boxes. Which
I've heard Padron are good for aging.
I have Padron 2014.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing, but it's not a proper aging. For me, aging is around 10 years. Proper aging starts around 10 years. I have a LFD made 2012, 2013. They're double Ligero, Airbender, Cameroon. They all amazing taste. Not strained. Still have slight strain because they're usually very strong cigars. Double Ligero is strong. They're decent. I have some other brands which is as well 10 years old, New World. They not taste that much as well. They're not that tasty.
Yeah. What I find is, Oliva cigars, the Melanio, they seem to age quite nicely. The young Melanios, I'm not a fan of them.
When the Melanio start? 5 years? No, 6 years ago?
Yeah, about 7 years ago.
It's not proper aging for me.
But 5 years is where the first kind of period happens, right? Between 3 and 5 years.
I gave you Melanio last time, if you remember. That was 2014.
So that one. So that one.
Yeah.
Versus the Melanio Figurado. So the Figurado, nowhere near as good as that aged Robusto. Nowhere near. Not even close. I've smoked a lot of Figurados. I've smoked a lot of the Robusto as well. The Maduro ones and the standard ones, right? And that one that you gave tastes a lot nicer. So the aging process is clearly having an impact on that.
I have a lot of cigars which are dated around that time, 2013, 2014. I have
still within the box.
I have Olivas, I have Padron, I have LFD, some other brands which are not well known and stuff, and most of them are alright. But if you go over 10 years, I really enjoy 3 or 4 different cigars which are older than 10 years, New World. One of the Hoyas, not all of them, not that one as well when you smoked. I have a Cubita, which is a cigar made by Quesada. Full box, I still haven't tried them. They're made around 1990s. So I'm really tempted. They look amazing. They're in 898 cabinet. So 3 rows, 898, the old Cuban style with the bundle. Look amazing, very silky. No any damage on the wrapper or anything. It's one of the best looking cigars I have in my collection. Yeah, we might smoke them in some point. Yeah, okay, try them. Yeah, they should taste very nice. They look amazing. The looking on the cigars, and they're made in Dominican Republic. That's my all these Dominican cigars probably.
What do you need, Alex?
Grab the old box, please.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, these are all courtesy of Ray, so No,
they're for smoking, guys.
So the fact that I'm offering them makes it look like they're my cigar. They're not. These are from Ray.
You can have them all.
Yes. All at once.
It's like a cartoon, you put them all in your mouth together, just like them. Okay, so here's a question now. What is when you have a cigar which is already rolled, packed in the boxes, and they're all together? When you age them, what is happening to the blend?
It's not not one answer to that.
Okay, well, give me all the answers.
Well,
give us all the answers.
What's supposed to happen? It's supposed to be the same. You know.
But the blend changes. The flavors change.
It change. As I say,
they kind of phase in.
I mentioned that the whole cigar going slightly less powerful, more tasty, creaminess, sweetness. We mentioned that. We covered that. It's not so. If it's something other different happen, it's maybe something wrong in the leaf. Some leaf is not being proper fermented. If it have bitterness in times, something's not being properly made in the cigars.
But the thing I find is, aged cigars, when you get like an aged Cohiba Lancero versus a, just off the shelf Cohiba Lancero, the aged Lancero has like a certain, almost like a smoothness to it, where the flavors feel like they've been kind of like, almost like they've just been mixed together.
You have that creaminess.
Yeah, but it's like they've been mixed together. Everything's been kind of like blended in a different way.
Yes, because the cigars, the leaves fermented again.
Okay.
They continue fermenting.
So
that's the aging,
that. So what happens?
Aging process is continuous fermentation. That continuous fermentation, it can last for very long time. You might even get rid of some of the oils, but still. It's same as a fermentation process, but just being blended together. The leaves ferment together, and you get rid of some of the bad things. You bring some other stuff. You might get rid of some of the good taste as well. You don't know what's going to happen. It's a science. It's not exact science. It's not like mathematics, chemistry, or something.
But we can make general statements to say that cigars that have been aged, they kind of blend in because the fermentation process happens again, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and then the cigars are already, the blend is already together. That's why you ferment them together. It's like Solera method. The Solera method is when you make, it's basically start with the wines and port wines in Portugal, port and ruby and stuff. They ferment the grapes for the wine together.
Interesting.
So the Solera, there's actually a cigar called Aging Room Solera. So they use that same process. So basically they ferment the whole leaves together, the same as a blend, and then roll them. They not separate them.
Oh.
They don't separate the wrapper. They don't separate the binder. They don't separate the filler.
So they actually do everything together.
Yeah. And what's happened? That's it. You don't know what's going to happen. So.
Well, hold that thought, because we've got.
There's not many people using it. As I say, I know only for aging room they have the Solera in 4 different blends, but that's what the method Solera is. If the people check in Google, Solera is usually fermenting grapes for port wines and that kind of stuff.
Okay, well, hold that thought. Quick word from our sponsor, Monte Fortuna. Monte Fortuna Cigars is a boutique company. They have a wide range of selection. They've got a wide range of selection. Wide range of selection.
Wide range of selection.
Is that
wide selection of ranges?
Wide selection of ranges. Clearly, words are my thing.
A selection of wide ranges.
So, I don't. He's thrown me. I mean, they've got lots of cigars on their site. They've got Cubans, they've got New Worlds. So whichever you prefer, they've got a bunch of each. I'm a big fan of the company. I'll leave a link below. They've been kind enough to sponsor our live stream, so really appreciate the support. Make sure you check them out as well. And yeah, Monte Fortuna Cigars, huge thank you for sponsoring our video. What were we talking about? Selections.
Ranges.
And ranges. So Solera, they effectively just kind of aged the whole thing and managed the whole thing together from start to finish, and that's going to have a very different impact on the cigar and the profile and everything in comparison to, let's say, cigars where the tobacco had been fermented and processed separately and then brought together after the fact. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a whole big world, the cigar world. It's so many stuff, and I'm not even a guy from the factory. I'm not a blender by any means. I'm very, very away from that. I'm just the guy which is more into the theory instead of the practice, because I'm not in the factory. Maybe if I was born in South America or if I'm living in Nicaragua, I will be way more able to give more details about that. But I'm not even close to tobacco factory, which is, I try to learn the stuff more deeply to understand them. But obviously I need to move down in Nicaragua.
Or Cuba. Let's go Cuba.
No, Cuba. Nicaragua.
Let's just go to all of
Cuba
them.
is boring.
If anyone,
Hey!
if anyone wants to sponsor us for those trips, then...
Yeah, feel free to sponsor me. I can go and taste the blends for you.
No, us.
Us, yeah, of course. I can't go without my crew.
I like how you said me. Thanks for that. Throw us under the bus.
Yeah. You need someone to make you look good, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, just stand next to me.
Any questions? Any interesting questions there?
Does the ring gauge make a difference in flavour? Does strength reduce in aging, says Joey?
In flavor, you mean taste-wise? The ring gauge where all the blenders blend their cigars when they taste them and try different blends, usually is Corona, which is 42, 44, 46. That's the optimum ring gauge. I'm a massive fan of 38, which is Lancero, 38 by 7 or 7.5, that's Lancero. My favorite ring gauges are 38 to 48.
I think you probably meant, does it make a difference when you're aging a cigar as well?
They probably age slower, right?
Well, you're not going to age 6 by 60 or 70 ring gauge. There's no point aging that kind of stuff. They're New World, they're not Cubans. If you age in some big ring age of Cubans, with the time, the ring will go smaller and smaller. So you have that as 100%. So if you have even that Hoya de Nicaragua over there, you see how loosely is the seal. When it's been rolled, it's not been that loose. Maybe loose about 1 or 2 sizes down.
So does the draw get impacted?
Not supposed to. Draw not supposed to be impacted.
Okay.
Because it doesn't just shrink down, does it? It all shrinks.
Yeah.
Right, I see.
So if the draw is impacted, that's me not being rolled properly.
Okay.
The problem is been since the beginning.
Right, I see, yeah.
Not happen, in the last 2 months or 3 months or last year. Maybe if you over humidify them, let's say you keep them on 80%, by some way you didn't get any mold, you might expand some of the leaves, especially if you have very big difference between the wrapper and the binder, and if the wrapper is dark and thick like this one, and you have brighter fillers, maybe the fillers will expand slightly quicker than the wrapper, but again, it's a bit of a guess game.
I mean, do you get different sorts of flavours coming out when you age a large versus a small ring gauge? Do you see different kinds of flavours developing depending on the ring gauge, or does that not make a difference?
So let's say you've got
the only few big ring gauges which I have, very big ring gauges and old, they're very tasteless. I have 60 ring gauge, I have 70 ring gauge. My oldest 70 ring gauge is my Uzi weighted on, which is a 2014-15. It's still tasty, but I have some inch by Epicario, which is about 60-62 ring gauge. They're not tasty. I have some other brands which are not really famous around 60 ring gauge. Most of them I try, which is at least 5-6 years old. They're not tasty as the small ones. I don't know how they've been, if they've been new. So because I haven't smoked them when they're new, I have them aged. I smoked them, not been impressed. I'm guessing usually the bigger ring gauges are not tasty as the small ones, even if it's a new cigar.
That's something that I've come across as well. I find that cigars with a thinner ring gauge tend to taste a little bit better. Some people say it's the ratio between the wrapper, binder and leaf. I'm not certain that's the case, because all of the different tobacco will have their own distinct flavors, right? It's not like just one leaf is causing all the flavor, because that would be a bit silly.
Maybe one of the leaves slightly lead on the flavors. You have the wrapper, some wrappers which you can't be easy to make on the proper blend because they overpower the rest. Brazilian Arapiaca, Brazilian Matafina, Connecticut broadleaf, they need something to put them down. That is Connecticut broadleaf, which is very tasty, very strong wrapper, but the binder is Indonesian Sumatra, which is a very mellow, very neutral, and keep the things down.
Well, on that basis, people who say that the wrapper is where all the flavor is, in that particular cigar, one could make the argument.
In that cigar, the wrapper brings a lot of the taste. Yes,
but it's not necessarily the case across the board.
No.
It is dependent on the cigar and the blend and what the roller or the master blender is trying to achieve.
Exactly, that's the best way to explain it. What the master blender will try to achieve, basically. Some master blenders have an idea, say, oh, I want that taste, so I'm gonna mix with the tobacco until I have that taste. Some people just say, yeah, I used to smoke one cigar in the past which tasting that. I want to implement that cigar, replicate that cigar again, and yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So it really does come down to a lot of different variables, a lot of different factors. So when you say that the wrapper's where the flavors are, it's not necessarily true, but it can be true. Okay, interesting. So Lancero type cigars, I find that they work really well in age. Like the few Lanceros that you've given me, they've been incredible cigars.
Because back in the time that was very popular with all. Lancero, Corona, Lonsdale. Back in the time you don't have many cigars which, even the Robusto, the peak of the Robusto was what, 90s? Late 90s?
Yeah.
Before that
so thick cigars weren't a thing?
They wasn't a thing, yeah, of course. The new world,
because the thickest cigar was
the new world start with the big ring gauges.
Yeah.
Big ring gauges, I mean Robusto back in the time. So when they start with Robusto, the Cubans of course start producing Robusto, more Robustos. The New World again start moving the rings. They go to Toro, they go to Gordo, and craziness after that.
Yeah, but Cubans didn't kind of lean into the Gordo.
They will go soon. They will go soon.
You think?
Yeah, you can see all the new cigars coming on the market. How many new Lanceros you bring on the Cubans?
They've been going on the 56 ring gauges, haven't they?
Exactly.
Like the ladies
they think
cigars.
for 58 again. They think for 58 now.
Oh.
So they're thinking for that. How many Lanceros you have in the last
do you know what? They don't
20 years, Cubans.
They don't taste that great though.
People like them.
But they don't taste that great.
It's demand. I even know that in one of the Facebook groups, there was a guy which basically just joined the group. I'm in that group, and he said, "Hi guys, I'm new in that group. I am new to the smoking. I smoked for the last 5-6 months. I used to smoke only 38, 40, 42, 46 ring gauge. But tell me what kind of cigars I want to buy to go into the proper mainly cigars, which is a big ring gauges." And after that, 20 at least people, friends of mine, comment, in a good way, say, "Look, the big ring gauges, doesn't mean that's a mainly cigars." Or something like that. The best taste on the cigar you have on the smaller ring gauges, not on the big ring gauges. They have some of the, because the binder is in the filler of the cigar. It's usually tobacco, which I mentioned in the beginning, not being properly fermented. They don't care about the color. Maybe they have slight acidity.
No, but the filler has like the 3 fermentation processes, right? So it's not necessarily the color doesn't look good, but the fermentation has been done properly.
Yeah, but still, people don't care that much as the wrapper and the binder.
Yeah.
The wrapper is being chosen by color, slightly imperfections. In the filler, even if you have imperfections which are caused by not proper fermentation, the green spots people think on the wrappers. If you have that on the filler, you might feel it on the taste, but you don't see it. So you don't know what stuff is inside. Filler is, you never know what's inside. Even if filler,
even the name is just filler.
The filler, sometimes, if you see the cigar with the properly held leaf in the middle, sometimes it's not in the middle, going in one of the sides. That can implement as well the draw. You can have the canoeing, the cigars which usually tunneling, canoeing, because the leaves are not put in the right way in the middle, and the cigar not being constructed well. The temperature is not right when you burn in, etc., etc.
I mean, for a long time, the largest ring gauge out of Cuba was the Esplendidos, right? Because that's one of the OG cigars.
Well, they have Churchills for a while, 47 ring gauge.
But Esplendidos is Churchill, yeah.
Esplendido is slightly thinner than Churchill.
No, 47.
Is it 47?
Yeah.
I think it's 46 or 40.
No, 47.
Okay, 47.
Exactly Churchill.
After 47, probably the first Robusto come in there, like 50. White Churchill, I don't know when the White Churchill come. It's 55 ring gauge.
That was the thickest for a while.
Yeah, there's some limited editions coming with that kind of ring gauge. Probably the early 2000, you can see the some of the torpedoes start arriving. Monte 2. Monte 2 is 52.
Yeah.
So Monte 2 is a decent big ring gauge.
See, you know what I forget? When you look at the Monte 2 and those kind of cigars, and you look at them online, because of their slender kind of shape and the way they taper, I forget how thick they actually are. I mean, it's a 52 ring gauge. It's not a thin cigar.
That is 52 ring gauge.
It's not a thin cigar. Do you know what I mean? But then when you see these ridiculous sizes, remember when they made the Cohiba with the 58 ring gauge, the short, fat one? I was just like, what is this? Do you remember that? The Robusto Supremos, I think. Cohiba Robusto Supremos. Let's see if anyone in the comments.
Is the limited edition 2014?
I don't know. I can't remember.
But I think it's 50.
No, there was a 58 ring gauge. Cohiba Robusto 58 ring gauge.
Huh?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure about that.
I'm certain.
I don't think Cuba have official release on 58.
They do. Cohiba. I think it was
they have the 60.
No, they've got the.
They have Cohiba Cohiba, which is a limited edition. I'm not seeing them for sale anywhere. Is
it Majestuosos or something like
that? Not Majestuosos. There's a Cohiba 60 ring gauge. Grandioso or something like that. I never seen them for sale, but I know they made them.
Majestuosos.
No, Joey was he was asking whether long fillers age better than short fillers, but also a few people making the point that a lot of thinner ring gauges are generally just better.
Yeah, not generally, they are better.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I know from what I've experienced so far, I know all of my favourites are under, or Churchill are under. Nothing really. One of my favourites were any bigger than that.
Probably the most I smoke, I like to experiment with new blends and new brands, so I can't stand only on the same Vitola. But if I want to have a nice experience, I'll get Lancero. 99 of 100 times, I'll get Lancero. If I slightly more go after, Lancero is 38 ring gauge, so if I want decent experience, I might go for Lonsdale or Corona, which is a 42, 44, 46, that ring gauges. And up to Robusto 50. More than Robusto, I don't smoke usually a lot of Taurus. I don't smoke Gordus or some silly sizes like 70 ring gauge.
I found the cigar I was talking about. Cohiba. It's like 20 grand in the UK for a box, Humidor box for 20 cigars. Cohiba Majestuosos 1966.
Yeah, Majestuosos
5'9" and 1/10 of an inch length in terms of length.
Yeah.
Ring gauge 58.
Yeah, but that's been released a few years ago.
Yeah.
I was talking for Cohiba 60 ring gauge.
60, damn.
Well, Ben Barnes says the Cohiba Robusto Supremos was a 2014 limited edition. That was a 58 ring gauge.
58? Okay. Yeah, I smoked few. I didn't realize they're that fat, to be honest. I didn't check them, but yeah, 2014 is a Robusto Supremos.
Ridiculous size, man. 5'9" and 1/10 of it. That's almost 6 inches.
Is that the first 58 ring gauge Cuban?
I don't think so. Because 2014 is older.
And Andre says the 50th anniversary. I haven't even said anniversary. I need to say it in Spanish. Anniversario was 60 ring gauge.
Yeah.
Crap.
I've never seen them for sale. Maybe they're only a very limited release.
Yeah, because they're like 20 grand for a box.
Still.
This is 20 grand for a box.
Yeah, Majestuoso, yeah.
Wow.
I have some coming.
Have you?
Yeah.
You got Majestuosos coming?
I have coming, but I didn't pay 20 grand, but I have some coming, yeah. I have a friend which buy 5 boxes.
He
has a friend.
Well, yeah, I know a guy which buy 5 boxes. He not live in England. And he promised me to send me a couple to try them.
Did they fall off a van? Back of a truck?
Did they fall out? Yeah.
No, he didn't. No, the guy buys. He smoke only.
Does he work for border control?
No, he smoke only that kind of stuff, which is silly. I always tell him, you know what he's smoking? He smoke Behike.
Yeah.
He smoke Talisman. He smoke 1966. He smoke that, and he smoke Krakens. I don't know how that.
We can't say anything about Krakens right now.
As I can say, he smoke Krakens as well.
We're not allowed to make comments about Krakens right now. We're going to be reviewing them. The only time I saw someone smoking that was on a YouTube video. AJ Patel. I think he was in one of his stores. He just walked into his humidor and goes, "We're gonna smoke one of these ones." And then he starts smoking. Yeah, no, the Majestuoso.
Uh-huh.
And then he starts smoking it, and I was like, "Damn, it's a £1,000 cigar right
Cigars
there."
are for smoking, man.
Yeah.
If I have them, I'll smoke them.
I will as well. I'm not gonna freaking stick around with them. I might sell them and buy other cigars. In all honesty, if I had a box of 20 grand worth of cigars, I would happily sell them and buy like a bunch of, I don't know. I mean, I'll smoke one of them. The rest of them I'm gonna sell.
Smoke them all, and I'll think how they change in difference.
No, I'm gonna buy like a bunch of Trinidads, and then I'll be fine with that. I'll buy like a whole like fleet of Trinidad Fundadoras, so that's it. That's me set for life in cigars.
So where Ray has a whole humidor full of different cigars for the next 50 years or whatever, you're just going to buy the same one?
I'm just going to have the same brand. I'm going to have Trinidad Media Lunas, Fundadoras.
Recently, I was checking before that show because I was thinking what kind of stuff to bring you. And I have 950 different type of cigars.
Damn.
Different types?
Yeah.
Have you got Trinidads?
Yeah, I have 950 different types of cigar.
Wow.
I think I have cigar with every single alphabet of the letter of the alphabet.
How many of each do you have on average?
No, some of them are just one or two. You know, I just want to try them. I don't have boxes of every of them. You know, but some of them are just one or two. I want to try them and just get samplers to try different blend. If I like them, I might buy more. That's what usually I'm doing. I try cigars. If I like them, I buy more.
Interesting.
I think we need one with the 69 ring gauge.
You had to make that joke, didn't you?
Just for the lols.
Smoking a 69. I like how Rachel perked up when we said the word 69. Or the number 69.
Wait, what? Lewd joke? What?
We're going to lose the child.
No, it's just a number.
It's not monetized, so it's okay. We can actually, to be honest, we can, in these videos, we can swear, but I'd rather not.
Yeah.
Rachel, shut up. Don't.
Apologies. Oh, fudge sticks.
Fudge sickles.
Sugar.
You see how slow burner is?
That's a very slow burn.
It was a Bellicoso, 5.5 by 52. I start smoking at 7:15.
Yeah.
So it's 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I am on the last third.
Actually, do you know what? Next week we've got some intro. I mean, we're coming to the end of this video anyway. Got like last 10 minutes. So in this last 10 minutes, let's extend the questions out and give everyone like the option to kind of ask as many questions as they would like, and then we can try and cover them as much as we possibly can. Because, like I said, we've got 10 minutes left, so let's
put the call out and see what.
Focus in on that, and then we can also, discuss what we're going to be talking about next week. Because next week we've got a couple of videos that we're going to be working on.
Yeah,
so,
we might have 2 live videos next week.
Yeah.
Not as a regular stuff. Just we might be able to do our first live interview. Actually,
yeah.
Usman will probably tell you more about that.
So we're still working things out. It hasn't been fully verified just yet. I mean, it's mostly been verified, and it's basically almost definitely certain, but still penciled at the moment. So let's. I'll hold off.
Okay, what are we gonna do next Tuesday then?
Next Tuesday, I wanted to talk about. Oh wait, the subject's literally just gone out of my head.
Yeah, you're so excited about Wednesday.
I am excited about Wednesday.
While you try to remember that, we have a recurring question from Joey.
Go on.
Which we should probably just print on a placard behind your head, I think. What's your favourite, Usman? What's your favourite, all-time favourite Cuban cigar?
If it's a regular line, Fundadoras, every day. Trinidad Fundadoras. I mean, I don't have any like mythical cigars like, some odd gem that no one's heard of or anything like that. It's just a Trinidad Fundadoras, which is this one over here. And Georgie sent me one. So Georgie, thank you very much.
Ray, I mean, he hasn't asked about you, so he probably doesn't care.
Nope.
My favorite, all-time favorite, Monte Special #1, Monte #2. Short Churchill is something I enjoy as well. Probably that would be my most cigars I smoke from the same brand, that will be.
So your standard line of cigars.
Standard line, Monte Special number 1 and Monte number 2.
Okay, what about the what about limited editions or
Behike.
rare? Behike?
Yeah.
Behike 54, 52,
56.
56.
Yeah.
Is there much difference between the 56 and the 54?
I like the size.
Yeah, of course you do.
You know, if you're gonna pay that kind of money, better go for 56. I didn't find difference in. I didn't smoke many 54s, so I smoked probably few 54s. I can't vouch many for them, but 52s and 56, go for 56. Same taste, double time enjoyment.
52 tastes a bit better, you know, in my view, compared to the 54. Don't get me wrong, 54 is good.
What about New Worlds then? Since Joey's asking about that.
New Worlds.
Put these on placards behind your head, I think.
Ask Joey for a specific brand, and I'll tell him my favorite cigar from that brand. Because I have probably favorite from every single brand. Padron, I'm a big fan of the 2000. I'll be simple. Davidoff. There's a few. Davidoff,
you gotta pick
one. The old style Perfecto with the white band.
They're not Cuban, are they?
No.
Okay.
Not Cuban. They're not.
Can you still buy them? If you
I
can't buy them, it doesn't count.
They make 53 now. What they called special release 53.
Okay.
They make them in the same Vito, I believe. Or if you want to buy them now, Yamasa.
Yamasa? Okay.
Joey hasn't answered yet. Amir says Davidoff.
Yamasa.
Fuente.
Fuente, Opus X, Chateau de la Fuente in a Churchill size.
Damn.
And then, it's Andre, isn't it? No.
Yeah, Andre.
Yeah. He's asking, what will be the next brand that will get the God tier status, like Padron, Davidoff, and Fuente?
The next brand?
Since you're a time traveler, Ray, you should be able to know this.
Are we talking like New World or
New World?
New World, no.
New World. Brand Epicario, probably.
It's already there, to be fair, isn't it?
No, it's not there.
No?
No.
I mean, it's one...
I'm guessing Epicario is my next child. He's already been high ranked. He's already people raving about him. He makes good cigars. He makes cigars for many people. He's not going to be on the same stage as Fuente and Padron because there's smaller companies relative to the Epicario. They produce mainly specific lines.
Yeah.
They don't have so many lines. They don't make so many cigars for other countries, for other companies. You know, Fuente makes some for J.C. Newman, for that kind of stuff, but Padron, I don't think Padron makes cigars for anyone.
No, I don't think they do. I think they just make their own.
Yeah, it's if you're talking for that kind of small brand, I don't know. Yeah, my shout will be the Epicario. It's not that small, but they're on the next stage. I'll probably, my sound slightly funny, but I'll go for Dumbarton Tobacco Foundation. Because both companies, Steve Saka and Nick Melillo, both of them produce amazing cigars. I never smoked bad cigar produced from them. They make small productions, crazy rare lines. They make very fun projects with different companies. But the God stage of, status as a God, whatever was the example, I don't know.
Well, okay, another question then. Oh, actually, there's two. One's just come in. First of all, do you own more cigars than you do hats? I still don't need to ask it, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to say obviously.
I have...
Do you have a walk-in hat stand or...
Do you have a hat that suits...
I have about...
a cigar?
I have
do you
about...
have a cigar for every hat?
No, I have about 40 hats.
That's more hats than I thought you had.
Yeah, I thought you had 10.
No, I have about 40. No, that.
You got more hats than I've got
I have in
socks.
different styles. No, I don't have more than I have.
No, you've got more hats than I have socks.
Okay, that's
and I'm
no problem.
talking pairs, individual. Okay, left and right.
Yeah. Well, I like hats. Why not?
I'm not hating on that. I'm impressed. I don't mind.
Bring the hat back. Bring the hat back, Ray. You're doing well.
Damn. What do I own? No. SD cards.
Yeah.
I've got SD cards. I've
What
got
was
more
the other
SD
question?
cards than
Second question.
Ray's got
Go on.
hats.
The second question was another one from Joey, similar to the previous one, but actually there was another one. Do you have more cufflinks than cigars? But,
No, I have 800 pairs of cufflinks. Obviously not more than cigars.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I collect cufflinks. I collect cufflinks. Yes, that was one of my oldest passions. Cufflinks. I have 800 pairs. I stopped buying cufflinks like a year ago or something because I literally some of the cufflinks I never wear them. I just put them in the boxes and like them.
It was getting to a stage where it was like either cufflinks or cigars. You're like, cigars win.
Probably, yeah.
That was thanks to Alex, that question.
What about rings?
There was another one as well, more cigar related question. I guess a future kind of thing. Do you see any new world brands that are, that you think are up and coming, might become legendary in Thailand?
Yeah, I mentioned Foundation Cigars and Dumbarton and Trust. That's the two brands which are very they will become more popular. Illusion is the other one by Dion Juliet. Dion Juliet is one of the biggest master blenders of the new world at the moment. He's not a guy which has been 50 years in the industry, but he's very, very into the blending cigars. And yeah, maybe Aganosa Leaf. They make cigars for many companies. They start making their own cigars recently. Not recently, but since they become Aganosa Leaf, they switch from Casa Fernandez to Aganosa Leaf. They start getting popular. They have a decent guy which dealing with the marketing and stuff at the moment, and they're doing very well. They make decent cigars. Probably that's the brands which I pick out from the others.
About
Gurkha, they start doing the right things, but the bad experience and the bad influence they have in the past few years, I think they're going to change that.
Yeah, I think their reputation.
The reputation, yeah,
took a hit with their previous CEO, but their new CEO seems like he knows what he's doing.
The right stuff.
He seems like a very capable person.
Always will be that cliche about Gurkha and what they do in the past.
I mean, I poke fun at them, but if I'm being completely honest, I would love to see a Gurkha company, Gurkha as a company do well and produce high quality stuff. And I think their current CEO looks like a very capable. Clearly he's a very smart man, but you can tell that he's someone who's going to take the company in a good direction. And I think Gurkha might turn things around a bit.
Still, the bad reputation.
The bad reputation can be overcome if they start, if they just stop producing bullshit for no reason.
The bad reputation is not only about the cigars; it's about the comments the previous.
But he's been
CEO
kicked out. Yeah,
he's been kicked out, but still people mention that.
Yeah.
What did he say?
He's been racist, basically. Let's say that way.
It wasn't obviously racist. It was more of like.
He's been ranting. The guy is from Asian. Where is he born? Is it Iran or Pakistan or something like that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's Asian guy. But he started raving in Twitter. He make few comments. He delete them afterwards, but the people already seen them. And basically they make the guy his own company. Basically, he's 100% own company. He make him to resign from the CEO position. Basically, he's the shareholder probably again still.
Yeah. No, he owns about 85% or 80% of the company.
But he's not by any means now on any role of the company at the moment, a part of the shareholder and owner.
But he is the major shareholder, so he can decide who's going to be the CEO and who's not going to be. He can decide a lot of things.
Probably, but
you're the majority shareholder. You've basically got overlord kind of control. Okay. I mean, yeah.
Oh, go on. Just because we haven't got much time left.
Okay.
4 quick fire questions. Oh no, 3 quick fire questions. Most expensive cigar you've ever bought?
What?
What's the most expensive cigar you've ever bought?
Which I bought.
Which you bought?
Expensive is as a retail value or expensive as a...
How much you paid?
How much I pay? Probably Behike. The most expensive I
How much you pay for yours?
I don't know, €50.
Okay. Behike 54.
I have more expensive ones, but I didn't pay the price which are retail. I have Cuban Davidoffs, etc., which are worth way more, but still I didn't pay the retail price on them. So,
okay.
For me,
go on.
Behike 54 recently paid 180 quid for it for you guys, so I can do a review on it.
What about the best small Cuban cigar?
Small.
Little. Well, it says little, but yeah.
Short Churchill. For me, that's the best one.
Monty number 4.
Small. Well, Monty is slightly smaller. I don't know.
No, quite a bit small. Quite a bit smaller. Short Churchill is Robusto.
Short is smaller than Robusto.
Short Churchill is Robusto.
Shorter than Robusto. 4.5.
It's not.
4.5.
No, it's 478.
Sit down. It's
five, exactly. It's exactly
5 by 50 for you.
No, man. Cuban Robustas are 478 and 50.
Actually, it's called Rothschild.
Is it?
Yeah, that's the.
Well, they call it Robusto.
Less than 5 by 50 is Rothschild.
They call it Robusto. Cohiba Robusto 478.50.
Well, let's leave that argument for the comments.
So yeah, my small one, I'm going to say Monty number 4. That's what you had, Rachel.
This one.
No,
the first one.
the first guy.
Oh, yeah. I quite like that actually. That was the one at Isho.
No.
That was the one we smoked in a hot tub in Scotland.
Oh yeah. That's so good.
The last question, because we're going over 2 hours now. Which old Cuban brand will get dug up next for a regional release? Like the La Excepción?
La Excepción has been just it's only one release, I believe. They're not gonna do anymore. Which old brand? Nobody know, if I can tell that. They might bring some brand from the past digging it, but like Excepción, there was a history. There's about story about that brand. That's why they bring them out. I want to tell the story. I don't know the whole story. I don't know. Old brand. There's so many. There's more than 200-300 brands, Cuban brands, which don't exist. They might bring everything. If I'm the Cuba, I'll probably bring some of the first brands. You know, just to complement the history. You know, the first Cuban brand being made like 1820, 1880, something like that.
Could Cuba produce a Davidoff cigar?
No.
Because, for example, they sold the rights to the branding to the States, to a US company, right? So Cohiba, you got Cohiba in the States because they sold the rights to some of the branding, but they retained Cohiba in Cuba as well.
Yeah, but Davidoff is a different story.
They can't do that. Okay.
No. Davidoff is a completely different story. They started weirdly in the 70s. They even kicked them out weirdly in the 90s. It's not gonna go back.
One last question. It snuck in from ///M.
I don't know.
Maybe he's a BMW that's learnt to use Twitter. I don't know. Have you guys smoked the Italian Ari Punch Mantua? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that
Italian?
right. Ari Punch Mantua.
So regional exclusive Italian. The Punch Mantua?
No, I haven't.
Me neither.
Italian originals. I smoked Tatuaje. It's not a Cuban, but they make Italian original. I smoke. I don't know what else Italian smoke, to be honest. I haven't smoked many Italians.
Regionals, I've smoked one in Finland because I was hanging out with one of the guys that I met in Finland, and I smoked. I can't even remember what it was. I just smoked. He's at least a Finnish regional. Smoked this one.
No, I haven't smoked it.
But I haven't smoked a lot of regionals. The only regionals that I've really smoked are UK based. Because
at the moment, I don't really care about the regionals and limited stuff. I buy more New World, way more New World to try, because I'm very influenced by the taste. I like some of the taste. I want to try the hype of some of the cigars, and the regionals. Some of them are crazy expensive.
Yeah,
and not
for no
worth
reason.
the money.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spend 50 quid for a cigar. Instead, I can buy nice, decent 3 or 4 or 5 cigar sampler from New World stuff, and they will be satisfying me more than.
Personally, I'm not that interested in regionals either. Whenever a regional comes out, I'm like, meh, whatever. I'm not. If it's a UK based regional, I'll get it just because it's good to review them, and they generally appeal to the kind of cigars that I like. So I will buy them mostly because I'm interested, and also because they actually taste good. But other regionals, I'm not really that interested.
What about next week?
Next week, I haven't fully decided exactly what we're going to be talking about, but I will put up a post on the channel, and I'll also put up a video once I've got everything sorted out, and you'll be able to kind of click on the reminder link to make sure that you're reminded about the video. But for now, this video is a wrap. So final word from our sponsor, Monte Fortuna Cigars. Retail company. They have a huge selection of cigars, both Cuban and New World. I'll leave a link below to their website, so please do check them out. They've been kind enough to sponsor this video, and obviously helps the channel. And also, I'm a customer of theirs. I'm genuinely a customer of theirs. I buy cigars from them, and the service is fantastic. I just think that they're a great company to buy cigars from. So make sure you check out Monte Fortuna. And again, huge thank you for supporting our video. Anything else? No? Rachel,
Yeah.
do you want to quickly throw in a final swear?
Bye.
Yeah, guys, smoke your cigars and fire up questions.
Yeah,
We'll be able to answer.
smoke your cigars and make sure they're not Gurkha. I'm sorry, I had to. Yeah, that was good.
Right.
Thank
see
you
guys
guys.
later.
See you later. Like and subscribe.